So, guys, remember that after the massive protests of Nnamdi Kanu that actually happened in Abuja, Tinubu's lawyer, Wole Olanipekun, sent him a message that he should actually and immediately sign referendum, that the National Assembly should conduct a referendum, that Bola Tinubu should allow them and sign it immediately and all that, which I did in my previous video. In case you've not watched it, you can check my previous videos. But a lot of people started asking, what is the process of this particular referendum? Because we've often said it here, that if we are to sit down and tell ourselves the truth, you would understand that we are not ideologically the same. The way the North reasons is not the way the Yorubas or probably the Igbos reason, because we all have different ideologies. I've often said it here, how the British just came together just to amass landmass and everything that and merged people with different culture, ideology together. It makes no sense. So in today's video, I'm not going to waste your time. Remember, Nnamdi Kanu's case is tomorrow, but we are going to dissect how referendum is actually conducted in a country. How referendum is actually conducted in Nigeria. People should bear in mind that the referendum has actually been conducted in Nigeria for only 2 times. And the first time the referendum was actually conducted in this particular country was historically, in 1961, when they wanted to decide between the Southern Cameroonians Union with Nigeria. So they decided to conduct a referendum between the Southern Cameroonians Union with the country. And another time referendum was actually conducted in Nigeria was 1963. Which was to decide the Midwestern region creation vote. So these were the 2 times that a referendum was actually conducted in the country. And the people are asking, is it possible for them to conduct a referendum according to what Olanipekun said? Yes, and I'm going to dissect to you and break it down bit by bit for you to see how a referendum will be conducted. But people should know that in the 1999 constitution that was drafted up by the Northern military head of state, they made it mandatory and compulsory that Nigeria is indivisible, and they removed anything that has to do with a referendum for secession. So the first and the most important thing for before referendum will actually happen in the country is for them to do what they call constitutional amendment and accommodate that Nigeria can be divisible at the point. For now, the constitution states as a matter of fact that Nigeria is indivisible, and for that reason they don't want to conduct. They cannot. And the presidency and the House of Assembly or the National Assembly cannot conduct referendum. So the first step is for them to have the constitutional amendment to accommodate that the country has a right to say or to conduct a referendum. So people will come and say if they truly want to be here or there. That is what the referendum is all about. So the first thing that should be done is the legal and the constitutional framework, that they should initiate a constitutional amendment to allow a secession referendum, as the current constitution, being section 2, declares Nigeria an indivisible state. And this requires a proposal from the National Assembly or a significant political movement before before this particular constitutional amendment will actually happen. So it means that there should be a lot of political pressure on the National Assembly for them to start constitutional amendment in the country to accommodate this part of referendum. As it stands now, Nigeria cannot conduct a referendum until this particular part is actually removed. Now, if this particular part is removed and the part that allows referendum is being accommodated, now the first step to take is for the National Assembly to approve the call for the referendum. Let's say the constitution allows for referendum for secession. The first step now is for the National Assembly approval, that they have to secure a 2/3 majority vote in both the Senate and the House of Representatives, being section 9 of the constitution, to approve the referendum proposal or amend the constitution to permit secession. So before a referendum will be conducted, that 2/3 of the majority will vote in both the Senate and the House of Representatives. So if we have 2/3 of the votes in the National Assembly and House of Representatives, the referendum will actually be approved. Now the State Assembly concurrence, that they have to obtain approval from at least 2/3 of the 36 states House of Assembly, that's 24 states, to legitimize the referendum process. That means 24 states out of the 36 states will actually give a go ahead and a nod for them to actually continue with the referendum before it will be conducted. So both the federal and the state level have a say or an input before the referendum will be conducted. Remember, the first step we said here is that they need to do a constitutional amendment to accommodate the referendum. Then after the referendum has been accommodated, now 2/3 of the National Assembly and 2/3 of the House of Representatives must vote in favor of this particular referendum before it will commence. Now, if the National Assembly and the House of Rep have actually done their part, the State Assembly that they need 2/3, being 24 states House of Assembly, will actually give a go ahead order for this particular referendum. Now, the next thing is legislation for referendum, that Now, the National Assembly and the State House of Representatives will pass a specific legislation outlining the referendum scope, eligibility, restricted to whether it is restricted to a specific region or nationwide, and the success criteria, example, simple majority or higher threshold. So after all of them have agreed that a referendum will be conducted, now they will map out some conditions and probably the scope. If this particular referendum is being restricted to an area, remember, if the Southeast wants to carry out secession, this referendum will be specific to the Southeast region. So the referendum will be conducted amongst the Southeasterners to know if truly these people want to be part of Nigeria or probably if they want to leave. Now the next thing is INEC preparation. That the Independent National Electoral Commission, being INEC, organizes the referendum, including setting the date, preparing voter registers, and designing ballots with clear options, example, secede or remain. So if everything has been set in place, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will be the one to conduct this referendum. Let's say if it's the Southeast region, they will come to the Southeast region to conduct this particular referendum with ballot boxes and all that. With every process that about voting will actually happen. So they will have ballot boxes like if you want the Southeast to secede, vote here. If you don't want to vote the other side. So after the INEC preparation, the next thing is public awareness and campaigns. That INEC, as a matter of fact, will conduct extensive voter education and allow campaigns by pro and anti-secession groups, ensuring balanced representation and security to prevent violence. So the same way election is being carried out, of course, if the Southeast says they want to go, or the Igbos, now they will allow people that are pro-secessionists, people that are in support of the secession, to campaign and probably convince people amongst the Southeast why they need to secede. Why others who are against the secession will still have to campaign and tell people why they should not leave the country. So there will be like political rallies and campaigns on this particular issue. Now the seventh is which is the voter registration and verification. That registered eligible voters, being Nigerian citizens aged 18 and above in the referendum area or nationwide, depending on the scope, and verified voter list. So voter registration and verification. So they have to verify those that are actually voting. If truly, let's say, if the secession is for the Southeast region, if truly these people are from the Southeast region and all that, so there will be verifications and registrations. Now the voting process, particularly in proper, that they will conduct the referendum at polling stations with adequate security, transparency, and international observation to ensure credibility. Remember, they can rig, if people don't know, they can rig even the referendum votes. So there will be proper security and international observers to know if truly this particular call for secession or the voting process was actually clear and fair and not mad with a lot of violence and intimidation and all that. Now the next step is result collation and announcement. So after they must have voted, that INEC will count votes at polling units, collate results at local, state, and national level, and announce the outcome through INEC. So INEC will be the one to announce if truly the people that won the call for secession referendum is those that are for it or against it. So they will just announce it like the same way they announce election results for presidential and governorship election. Now, the last but not the least is validation and implementation. That if the referendum passes, negotiate terms of secession, example, boundaries, assets, debts, through a legal and diplomatic process. Remember, of course, if the Igbos or probably the South decide to secede today, the debt that Nigeria owes, they will find a diplomatic way of actually sharing it and dividing it. Then they will talk about boundaries, they will talk about assets and all that. And this may require further constitutional amendment, international mediation, and addressing potential conflicts. This is where some of the problem actually come. If this referendum is successful, remember, Igbos will try to map out their own boundaries, or the Southeast will try to map out their own boundaries. And of course, in this situation, the Nigerian or probably the other states will actually won't allow these particular states to take over some areas, especially, let's say, the oil producing areas and all that. So it's going to equally be another case. But people are saying that with international mediation and all that, that this particular stage will actually be passed and all that. So these are basically the 10 steps that are actually involved if referendum is truly conducted in the country. Like Olanipekun, being Tinubu's lawyer, is actually advising him. Like I told you guys, Tinubu's lawyer is actually advising him and telling him, see, it is time for you to allow the National Assembly to conduct a referendum. But like I said, the first and the most important thing for them to do is to amend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to accommodate the referendum process and all that. Meanwhile, that's all. I just wanted to explain this for you. Tomorrow, Nnamdi Kanu will actually appear before the court of Justice James Omotosho. Like I said here, we'll be bringing you update about Nnamdi Kanu's case. Please do not forget to subscribe, like this particular video, comment, and drop your click on the notification button, because this week Nnamdi Kanu has officially called 23 witnesses. Remember, out of the 23 witnesses, he mentioned Abubakar Malami, Umahi, Wike, and so many dignitaries and political dignitaries to come and serve as a witness. You know, people were shocked that why is Nnamdi Kanu calling his enemies to come and stand in as witnesses for him. But people are saying that he actually knows what he's doing. Somebody like Abubakar Malami will come up to the court to explain why he participated in the illegal extraordinary renditioning. So Nnamdi Kanu wants to, call them out and for them to come and stand as witness. Remember, witnesses should be the ones, are standing in favor of an accused, defending an accused and all that. But this time, Nnamdi Kanu is calling his enemies to come and stand in as a witness for him. Well, fingers crossed. I'll keep you guys posted. Please do well to subscribe if this is your first time of coming across my videos and you enjoy what we do here. Drop your comments in the comment section with respect to everything we've said. Do you think there will be another referendum in the country according to what Olanipekun is actually suggesting? So do well to drop your opinions and give me facts of the matter. Like I've often stated here, drop your opinion on all these things. See you guys later, and God bless.